Okay, now we're going to make an array that's a little bit more complicated. This one is going to be 132 times 24. So previously, our number of rows was only one digit. Now we're going to have 24 rows, and in each row there's going to be 132 seats. Again, if you want to imagine there being a stage, the stage would be up front here, and we could draw some red curtains to represent the stage. And we're going to be creating an array in front of the stage that represents the number of seats in this movie theater. Our first job is to break up 132. If we're breaking up 132 in expanded form, we would break it up into 100 plus 30 plus 2. Now what's different from our last array is that we're also going to break up the 24. We're going to break it up into 20 and 4. So I'm going to start out with the 100 seats. And I'm going to count by tens because this really nifty graph paper helps me count by tens by these darker lines. I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So in between here and here, I know I've got 100 boxes, which we're imagining represents individual seats in this movie theater. So I'm going to mark that I created a row of 100. Next, I'm going to try and deal with this 30. Again, counting by tens is going to be really helpful. So from the 100, I'm going to come over 10, 20, 30. I can connect those and label it again. That's going to be 30. And finally, I'm going to do the 2 individual seats left over here on the edge. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. So I'm just going to go 1, 2. And then I'm going to draw an arrow, since it's awfully small, to show that there are 2 right there. All right, coming back around to the side, I've got to start representing the 24 rows. So I've broken up that 24 rows into 20 and 4. I'm going to do the 20 first. So I'm going to come down 1, 2 big boxes, so that's 10, 20, and then I can connect all the way over here. Like so, and mark off that this is 20 rows. Inside this box, I know I've got 20 rows of 100 chairs. 2 times 1 is really easy. Then I just got to think about the number of zeros. 1, 2, 3. So inside that box, that array, I know that there are 2,000 boxes, individual little boxes, which in our imagination represent seats. Let's keep going over to the right. Next, I'm going to deal with the 30. So inside this box, I know that I've got 20 rows of 30 seats. 2 times 3, excuse me, is really easy. That's 6. And then I've got 2 zeros. So that's going to give me 600 seats inside this box. Finally, I've got this 2 over here. And that's going to be super hard to write inside, so I'm just going to draw an arrow inside there and show that this is two columns rather, of 20. So 2 times 20 is going to give me 40 seats in there. But I'm not done yet, because so far I've only done the 20 part of the 24 rows. So I've got to come 4 more down to finish off my array. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I can draw my line across. I try and keep it straight. And again, I'm going to break it up. So I'm marking that this is worth 4. And if we go all the way across to this point right here, which matches up here, we can see that this is 4 rows of 100. 4 rows of 100 is going to equal a total of 400 seats. If I come over here, and I mark off these boxes, I can see in here that again, from all the way from over here, I know that this is worth 4. And if I come down from the top, I know that this is worth 30. So that would be 4 times 30. I use my math facts. 4 times 3 is 12. And then I add in that 0. That's going to be 120 seats. And then my tiniest little box over here is going to be 4 times 2, which equals 8. So again, if we break up this problem into expanded form, we can create a chunk of 2,000 seats, a chunk of 600, a chunk of 40, 400, 120, and 8. I'm going to show you how this is done using the box method on the board. All right, so we've seen on the graph paper how you can break up a really large array, as large as 132 by 24, into smaller, more manageable chunks, things that we can multiply in our head. Now I'm going to show you how to do that on the board using the box method of multiplication. So the first thing I do is I take a look at how many digits I'm working with, and that tells me how to draw my boxes. My highest number of digits is 1, 2, 3, so I know I need to draw my box large enough to accommodate 3 digits. I'm going to break up 132 into 100, 30, and 2, which is the expanded form of the number. As you can see, I've broken up my big box into 1, 2, 3 pieces. And what I like to do is with the lines, I like to turn them into little plus signs, which represents the expanded form of 132. 100 plus 30 plus 2. I also did a little bit of thinking ahead. I made my box really sort of high, long, however you want to think about it, because I knew that 24 was going to come on over here and end up on this side, broken into 2 smaller parts, 20 plus 4. Now, all I need to do is some multiplication in my head to complete this problem. Where the numbers meet up is how you multiply. The 100 and the 20 meet up here, so I think, what's 100 times 20? I use my math facts to help me out with that. 2 times 1 is super easy to do. It's just 2. And then I count the number of zeros. I've got 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 20 times 100 is 2,000. 4 and 100 meet up at this box. 4 times 100 is 400. 20 and 30 meet up in this box. Again, I use my math facts. 2 times 3 is 6, and then I count the number of zeros. I've got 1, 2 zeros. So 20 times 30 is 600. 4 times 30 meets up right here. 4 times 3, using my math facts, is 12. I got to add in that 0, 120. 20 times 2 meets up right here. That's going to give me 40. And 4 times 2, easy peasy, that meets up right here, which is 8. We've got our array back up here so that we can see how these things match up. When we drew our row of 100 and we did 20 of those rows of 100, we knew that that ended up with 2,000 total. We can see that 2,000 represented here. Similarly, the 20 rows of 30 gave us 600 total seats. We can see that represented here, where the 20 and the 30 meet up. You can match up the array with every part of this box. 400, 400, 120, 120, tiny, tiny little one over here, 8, 8, and 40, 40. Now to finish this up, we have to add all the smaller parts to figure out what our total product is. I always start with the largest one because that helps me line up my digits for adding. Once I write it down to add, I cross it off to let myself know that I've taken care of it. My next biggest number is 600. Cross that one off. 400 is the next biggest. After that, we've got 120. Then 40. Then 8. And I add to get my final answer. 2 plus 4 is 6. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 6 is 11. And my final answer is 3,168 seats in our strangely shaped movie theater.